All right, to wrap this bad boy up, our guest in here today, Rawiri Waititi, Te Pāti Māori co-leader. Welcome into the show, man.
Awesome to be here, brothers. Awesome to be here and have a quarter with all the whānau out there.
Oh, bro, it's exciting, man.
Actually, you can't see Shifters whānau, but we have been complimenting Rawiri Matua on his get-ups, eh? It's all, see, with the young people, it's all about the fits at the moment. And when we see Rock the Jordans in Parliament and around, we're like, hey, I'll give that guy a listen. You know?
Hey, look, I'm a 90s boy, you know, R&B.
Well, you got the ripped jeans, the bomber jackets, the Jordans on.
The Jordans on, yeah, I'm a 90s boy. So, yeah, we went to school out here in Rutherford High School. It was Rutherford High School back then in Tallahassee. So,
bro, speaking of fashionista, you've been busy this week, man. You've been a busy man. You see you walking out there on the catwalk and opening up New Zealand Fashion Week. How was that?
Well, I had nowhere else to be. I got kicked out of work anyway.
We saw that too.
But I just want to say that New Zealand Fashion Week, for the first time ever, a Maori had opened up New Zealand Fashion Week. So I just want to mihi to Kitty Nathan and her line. Nice to see that there's some men's lines out there.
Or you and Teeks out there holding it down.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, lucky I went on there with Teeks because he looks like a model.
It's true. What did you find more nerve-wracking, like doing a big speech or walking the fashion walk?
The fashion walk was really nerve-wracking because I'd never done that before.
So I've
been brought up doing speeches on the marae, well, now in Parliament, out in the community. But, you know, walking on that really pushed some of my comfort zones, and I had to step out of it and just have a go. So, like I said, if I don't make it in Parliament this year, I might take up modelling.
But there's so many people right now probably wondering, hey, did he just say that he wasn't allowed? And well, what's it been like for you the last 24 hours?
Oh, look, you know,
it's another day.
This is the way of the game. I've been kicked out, suspended. What else left is there for me to achieve? But you know, we got to continue to push back against the systemic racism in the house, and we must continue to ensure that we have a strong, Maori, proud and unapologetic voice.
Yeah, 100%. We are going to get into all of that, especially sort of the political Maori Party questions as well. But we just want to start with you, Matua. You know, and I just want to say before I ask my question, it's been an absolute. I'm not being biased here. It's just a personality thing. It's been an absolute joy to watch you since you started. It's just refreshing, you know. It's almost like, you know, someone just a little bit against the grain. Someone, you know, when you talk in the house, you can actually hear. You know, it actually sounds exciting. So well done on getting into politics and even getting to here. Where I want to start is, would you be able to tell us or share a personal story or experience that has shaped your personal values and political beliefs?
Well, I'll share a story about my grandmother who had a huge influence on my upbringing. And so when people ask me who's the greatest politician in the world that you aspire to be, that would be my kuia, my grandmother. And so, you know, she used to speak in whakatauki, but whakatauki Pākehā. So her mother came from England.
So whakatauki is like
proverbs and things like that. So, you know, we say ka pu te ruha ka hao te rangatei when the old net is worn and the new net goes fishing. But she used to say things like, you know, straight is the line of duty, curved is the line of beauty, follow the straight line and the curved line will follow you. And I'm thinking, what in the world does that mean? I'm the 10-year-old boy listening to this, you know.
She right, though.
Yeah. You know,
wow,
things like, you know, to err is human, to forgive is divine. You know, those types of kōrero to me have shaped the way I live my life. And I'm always a work in progress. Nobody is perfect. You're a work in progress, not in your work life, but in your personal life. So you're always aspiring to be the best father, the best husband, the best son, the best nephew, and the best, kindest person you could be. And you're always a work in progress in terms of doing that. Straight is the line of duty, curved is the line of beauty. Follow the straight line, the curved line will follow you. What that tells me is you must know when to take the work cloak off when you go home. Otherwise, you're not the only one wearing it. Your family have to wear it. And so those are the things that I constantly, I'm a work in progress, and I've always try and follow the straight line. Sometimes the curved line bloody throws you a curveball.
Yeah, of course.
But at the end of the day, yeah, that would be, my grandmother would have had the biggest influence on my life.
Is that your favourite whakatauhi?
Yeah, to forgive is human, to err is human, to forgive is divine.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Well, unpack that quickly.
You know, just that we make mistakes, and others make mistakes. And if you hold on to something, if you have resentment towards somebody else, it's like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies from it. This is going to eat you up, eat up your hinengaro, your mind. That eats up, because this is the most powerful thing I think in the body is trying to control this. because this thing can play some tricks on you.
Bloody oath again.
You got to follow your puku.
Yeah.
Follow your puku. So,
Love
yeah,
that, love
but forgiving people, I think, is a big thing, because that allows you to, not for them to drink the poison, but it allows them the opportunity to write it, because you're now putting it where it should be.
Definitely.
Hey, interested to hear the question, or the answer, sorry, to this question. And we've asked all the politicians as well, but what are some of the challenges that you face? Now, I'd imagine that they're a little bit different, or there might be different ones that you face as a politician in-house, but what are some of the biggest ones that you're facing today?
Well, I think trying to get to work is the first thing. Not trying to get up for work, but I live 3 hours away from the nearest airport. So I travel 3 hours to get to Rotorua or Tauranga to fly out to Wellington. When I fly back, maybe 7:20, it lands in Tauranga on a Thursday night. I drive that 3 hours to get back home to my babies and my whānau. So that's a huge challenge, is access. And so
Staying awake.
as long as I've got some good R&B playing, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just jamming
Someone
all the way
gatekeeping
home.
for you, then you might get some, eh?
I've got a Maxwell and Ascension, or I've got a Life and Casey and Jojo. But so those are some of the things that I do. I think are challenging. The other challenge is that I hear the Cinderella analogy you fellas use, Cinderella, Cinderfella. But for me, Parliament is like rangi trying to put her foot into Cinderella's slipper. That's a huge challenge. That's a huge challenge. That's a fucking taking. That's a fucking taking. There's Rangi trying to put her foot into Cinderella's slipper when Rangi wears Crocs.
Oh, we're going to use this again. Don't worry, you're going to hear this one back.
Oh, the first politician to land something from the show into our world. Wow, you're on.
Yeah, so those are some of the challenges. It's a system that wasn't built for us. It was brought over here, from 40,000 kilometres over the sea. It's a Westminster system. It's patriarchal. It's not safe for our wahine Māori. And so you've seen that over the past, our wahine Māori just getting hammered in that place. Not in wahine Māori, but Māori in general. And those are the huge challenges, and I continue to try and break those ceilings.
Absolutely.
To ensure that we can see ourselves, that we're reflected in that house, because this is Aotearoa and we are the tangata whenua.
100%. Much I've asked every politician, every political leader that's come in here, and each have had varying answers, but I want to give you the opportunity to ask. I always wonder, as a public servant, I always think when I see these leaders, I think, why would you do that? Why would you put yourself on the firing line? Where does it come from, your need to help people? Like, because we understand you put yourself into the public forum, you're going to take the hits, you're going to be criticised, but then you turn around and you're trying to tell me that you want to help all New Zealanders. And I'd also like, if you can, when you say you want to prioritise Māori, I think what we're also forgetting for non-Māori that hear it is that Māori values can help all Kiwis. So where do you sit on that? Where does that kind of sit for you?
Well, I want to unpack a few of the things
Yes,
you've just said. So the first thing is that why do I do this? Is everything I do is making mokopuna decisions, not for the now. It's for tomorrow. And the problem is with governments, they come in, they're like te rauparahas haka. Kamate, kaora, kaora every 3 years. You don't know who's going to be the government. Every 3 years, their house comes in, goes out, comes in, goes out. But for us, we're enduring. We will forever be here. We can't go anywhere else. And so the reason why I get up every morning is not just for my mokopuna, it's for your mokopuna. And so it's the tomorrow I'm aspired to do the mahi. The other thing is, we want to change the name back to Aotearoa, is to reinvigorate the indigenous language of this country, but not only that, the indigenous spirit, the tangata whenua spirit of this country. So if you understand, if you do a bit of research, New Zealand actually comes from the last slave port. The word Zealand, and the little place Zealand that this country's named after, is named after the last slave port where the Dutch were taking Africans up to Holland and then over to America. I don't want to be associated with that name, and it's a colonial name to uphold those types of stories. And so the sooner we get rid of it, the better.
I follow pages, and sometimes there's some out the gate conspiracies, and I've read things like if we change the name to Aotearoa, it'll actually legally put us outside of the treaty. And is that a hoax?
That is a hoax.
Yeah, cool.
Because if they're going to talk treaty, and if it becomes null and void, then everything they've established is null and void. Government is null and void. Their very existence is null and void.
You're probably going, okay, let's do it.
No. And that's not what we want. And we need to have mature and adult conversations. And so those people out there that are mature enough or adult enough to have a kōrero about the name recognition of Aotearoa, returning our names back to our cities, our streets and things like that, I think is really, really important. And it's nothing to be afraid of. Here's the problem. They love our language. They love our culture. They do the haka. They love the All Blacks doing the haka. They love it when the Kia Ora magazine and the Air New Zealand...
they love those shared lunches.
Yeah, they love the shared lunches. But, they love our culture. They love the ability to be able to use te iwi Māori to sell this country. But they don't love me. Right? They don't love us as a people. And so this is the reason why we get up in the morning to do the things that we have to do. Even the word Kiwi is a word they use to assimilate us, to make us all one. Actually, I'm from Aotearoa and I'm Māori. And it's okay to be, I'm from Aotearoa and I'm tangata tiriti. Or I'm from Aotearoa, I'm tangata whenua. Or I'm from Aotearoa. It's okay to have all those diversities, recognising those diversities and honouring each other, because that's what the tiriti promised.
Well, sorry to jump in, Rawiri, because I find that it's a beautiful statement if you sit under Māori. Like, right, if we're Māori, then it's nice. It's scary, though, for anyone who sits outside the culture. So is there a way of, naming or changing the name to Aotearoa without making people who aren't Māori feel, intimidated? Because I feel like that's the pushback, right? People are like, I'm going to lose something here. But is there a way that it encompasses all cultures here? Yeah,
the problem is that you've got other politicians and leaders out there who are using social theory to create moral fear and panic in people. And so moral fear and panic is something that is a tool. I'm not going to say the tool was used by Trump. The tool was also used by Hitler, using words like subhuman, which we've heard some of the politicians use, apartheid and segregation. Those tools were used against Indigenous peoples and our black communities. But just to say, nobody loses anything. We all gain something. Māori are a sharing, caring people. An Aotearoa hau looks like how we will treat you on the marae. And those people who have experienced the marae would know what the Aotearoa hau...
That wasn't that bad.
No, that wasn't that bad. It actually was really awesome. Because...
Left feeling something.
An Aotearoa hau is the way we'll treat you on our marae. We will welcome you. Everybody is welcome to our marae. Everybody is welcome to stand at the waharo at the entrance place of that marae. We will feed you. Right? Unfortunately, we've got people out there who are starving, 100,000 people who are homeless out there at the moment. We will house you. We will care for you. We will love you. And that's what every human being deserves. And so coming up with policies that equalise that particular position and ensure that everybody feels safe, they feel cared for and feel loved, I think is the greatest gift that we can offer this country. And that's the Māori way, because I've just shared an example of how we do it in practical terms.
So what you're trying to get people to understand, sorry Marc, if you can continue to, is that when you've gone onto a marae, for people those who experience, that's what also Māori politics can be too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
because the thing is, what he's saying is, well, I actually like that, but I'm not Māori, so why would I vote for Māori Party?
Yeah,
But what you're saying is, well, if you've gone to a hui and you love the waiata and you love the feeling it gave you and you left thinking it was a good experience, you're saying that's how Māori politics can be.
Absolutely. If you go onto a marae, outside of the marae is te wahanga kia tūmatauenga. That's the realm of tūmatauenga. That's where you have your debate. But we debate respectfully. There's no yelling over the top of everybody or
like
yelling across the marae like the house. So there's a respectful way of honestly, we have models and examples out there of how we can do things a lot better.
Oh, 100%.
And if we look at Indigenous knowledge and the way we treat people, we're welcoming people, we're hospitable people. We will always look after you if you come onto the marae. And actually debating on the marae is also a form of respect and honour, because after that, then you go for a hakari together. You become one spirit in that particular space. You don't have to agree on everything, but you have the opportunity to have those debates. And so, that's an opportunity for transformative constitutional transformation in this country, is to look at Indigenous knowledge, even when it comes to climate change. Our outlook on climate change is totally different to how everybody else sees it. We see it from a place where it's not climate driving vehicles, it's not climate seabed drilling or deep sea oil drilling, it's humans. And so we need human change, because the climate is doing what the climate does. But for Indigenous peoples, it's human change. We have to change our behaviour in order to look after the whakapapa of Papatūnuku. So those are just some of the things that I would say. But the Tiriti o Waitangi gave everybody a right to be here. And so what we want to do is ensure that we honour Te Tiriti. Māori have honoured it. Article 1 allowed for kāwanatanga government, and it's been here since 1853. Article 2 was our exclusive right to be able to look after ourselves, our full and exclusive right to our domains, our wana, our awa, to be able to be the true kaitiaki that this country deserves us to be. Article 3 was to be treated as equals. The last 2 articles haven't been honoured, and that's what I'm saying is let's really honour the treaty. Let's ensure that that everybody has a place, everybody feels safe, everybody feels cared for, everybody feels loved.
It's a uniqueness that's ours too, right? Like, I mean,
100%.
as this world has got more and more commercial and it's been more and more sort of aligned as to this is how everyone is, it's one way we can stand out is by honouring, you know, the way that it has been done and done by the people who were here. You know what I mean?
It is an amazing document. It is an amazing covenant. It's something the rest of the world could learn from. It's something that we all should embrace, not just Māori, but also not just tangata whenua, but tangata tiriti as well. And we're seeing a lot more tangata tiriti coming to the fore now. I want to acknowledge the younger generation and supportive of lowering the age to 16, because there is a rise of a generation, not just tangata whenua, but tangata tiriti, who are intelligent, who are absolutely informed. They know what's going on out there. They know what's happening around the world. They don't want injustices. They want to fix the social injustices, the cultural injustices all around the world. And I've dubbed them Gen T. And so you've got the boomers, you've got Generation X, Generation Y, Gen Z. You've got the millennials. And I've dubbed this next generation Gen T, Generation Tiriti, because they will be the ones that will bring to the true realization of what this country was supposed to be back in 1840.
Wow. Basically what you're talking about too, and I'm paraphrasing here, is representation though as well, right? You've covered so much with that, but you are such a face. We see you, we know the face, we know what you stand for, but how do you stay present? How do you stay connected? How do you represent the people who are connected to you?
Well, look, I used to do radio, and I once upon a time I had the face for radio and not for TV, but seen more on TV now. You know, I want to be the face that represents the communities that I serve. And so going in there dressed up in a suit and tie, I don't wear that stuff. You know, I just don't rock it. Like, give me a high vis.
Yeah.
Give me the gears outside that shit when I walk in.
We got a couple of hoodies on the way out.
The hoodies on the way out. Like, give me a hoodie. Let our people see that they are represented, that they are safe, they are cared for, they are loved. And so that's the reason why I'm breaking those ceilings. I'm pushing back against the system that actually quite often tries to assimilate us, tries to make us look and feel and sound just like them, trying to make us Kiwi, because that's not a thing I subscribe to, because it's about assimilating me to think, to be
A certain way.
Yeah, to be a certain way. You know, it's like us sitting here. We're the disruptors. Why are we the transformers? I bags Optimus Prime. You fellas can be.
He liked Optimus Prime too.
Yeah.
He said it too.
Optimus can go, man.
But you know, we're transformers in a space.
TT Transformers.
TT Transformers, yeah. So we are the ones who are pushing back against what everybody thinks is normal. What is normal? What is common sense? Whose common is it? Whose sense is it?
It's not that common. I know
It's
that
not
much.
that common. And I tell you what, common sense today is a few cents short of $1. You know, and that's exactly what's happening. And so we must continue. And so I want to be the person who breaks the ceilings, re-indigenizes spaces, not only decolonizing ourselves, but re-indigenizing spaces. Because we haven't got the time to pull things down and build things back up. No. Let's just go in there, re-indigenize a space, and make it feel like it's for everybody, and that we all can be treated as equals.
How do you stop the pushback on that though? Like I think it's an admirable. I'm proud of what you are doing, and I consider myself Māori. I can't speak the language. I know parts of it, and it's one of my journeys is to make sure that I push on through for my own kids. But I feel like you face the brunt of people who use our culture in a way that is negative. Like they'll point out, look how many Māori are on the dole. Like, do you know what I mean? And how do you keep your soul strong and keeping on pushing when you know that the games that other parties will play at you actually hit you directly to the soul? It's very different from, say, you saying something and it's just like a broad sweeping statement and it can wash over them. For you, they're pushing back on the people that you represent. How do you stop that from hurting?
Well, there's just as many Pākehā on the dole than there is Māori on the dole. And
We never hear that though, right?
You don't hear that. There's just as many child abuse things out there, that's equal to that Māori and Pākehā are equal. And so those things you never hear of, because we are not here on accident. We are here by design. The system has created this. And what it does, it continues to feast on our misery. It continues to feast on our trauma. The more people we have in prison, the more money they give themselves for the justice system. The more people we have in hospital, the more people the more money they give themselves for the health system. The more uneducated our people are, the more money they give to the education system. And so this is the problem we have. We are conditioned to be in this particular position because we're not here on accident. That's the first thing. The second point I want to pick up on your kōrero around being Māori, not having the reo. I shared a kōrero at Manuriwa Marae. I've been sharing this kōrero everywhere, and I truly believe this. You may not know your maunga, but your maunga knows you.
Facts.
You may not know your awa, but your awa knows you. You may not know your whakapapa, but your whakapapa knows you. You may not know your marae, your reo, but your reo knows you. You are good enough because our tipuna made it so. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that. We are Māori, and we are tangata whenua, and we stand proud in our truth, and we stand proud in who we are as tangata whenua. And I want to say that to everybody out there, the reo was waiting for you.
That's such an amazing thing. And we'll get back to the political side of things, but on a personal journey, I've got a really good friend who I grew up with, and I've always thought was just a Pākehā family from Gizzy that, really well off and so on. And he said to me the other day that Māori blood runs through them as well. And I said, why don't you, where is it for you though? Like, why isn't it? He goes, I've never really kind of connected to it or anything like that. And I was like, but you're an example of success. Like, you're an example of someone who owns his own real estate company that has, you're one of the ones that should be a poster child and for other people to aspire to, but you stop doing it because, you don't feel like you're connected. But when you hear speeches like that, it can be an intimidating world. I should know. I feel like I should know. And that's my journey, is to start taking those steps forward. But hearing, at times it can be intimidating. But hearing something like that makes you go, yeah, we're all this. This is all of us. It's in us.
It is in us, and those things are waiting for us, all of us. They're just sitting there waiting. They're not going anywhere. Hey, and it's up to us whether we go and meet those things, meet our maunga, meet our awa, meet our marae, meet our whakapapa, meet our reo. That's where the magic happens. But, don't let the reo be your destination. Enjoy the journey. So if you're on a journey, enjoy that and enjoy every part of it, because that's where the magic happens, is actually in the journey, not the destination.
100%. I just want to, before have we you covered what you need to for?
Yeah, I've got the political ones, but you do your.
You go. We'll finish on that one.
Okay, so what's an issue, Rawiri, that this Aotearoa could fix tomorrow, and how?
Right now, taking GST off kai will make a huge difference for our whānau on the ground who are struggling to put bread and butter on the table. Not just taking it off fruit and veg. Like fruit and veg, there's too much grey area. So you could buy an orange for no GST. As soon as you squeeze it and make orange juice, you put GST on it.
We need it on that mince and that chicken.
That mince and that chicken, man. We need it on all of those things. But people say, only on fruit and veg. Well, what does that say? That we continue to discriminate against whānau who still can't put kai on the table because they can't afford all the other kai. They're not allowed down those aisles. Are we discriminating? Are we food discrimination against our people now and those who are just struggling? This is the biggest thing we could do right now, is take 15% off your shopping bill.
But you're saying all food in the supermarket?
On all food.
Yeah.
On all food. Like I said, we shouldn't be discriminating against people who don't have, and allow people who can to continue to live a lavish lifestyle.
And to unpack that, a whānau that's struggling is more likely for the breads, the pastas, kai that's going to actually sustain them than little
the fibres in it.
Then little broccolis and
and the
not
thing
say
is,
that that's not good, but it is what it is.
Let's have the education around what those different food groups are, like proper education into those schools. Start driving, those types of things to ensure that we're making, good, healthy decisions. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't be discriminating against our whānau when it comes to the checkout. Soon you're going to have, this is the no GST aisle, this is the GST aisle. Don't you go down the GST aisle. You can't afford that. You're only allowed down here, so you're on bananas.
So what you're saying, though, is it is possible.
It is absolutely possible right now. The government could make that change right now,
for all food,
but have chosen not to.
And just to quickly land this in context, you've said our whānau, but really that's all people in Aotearoa who are living below the line that would agree with you. Right? So I know in context you say our whānau, but really that would be a policy that you'd support that would help every New Zealander from
Everybody is whānau. Everybody has a whānau.
Yeah, cool.
And so that's the language we're pushing through this changing the narrative. Changing the narrative. Usually say your beneficiaries or poor people or, hard to reach communities, all those types of kōrero. We're all whānau. And unfortunately, tangata tiriti in that space have left their people behind. And so we've got to make sure that when the tide rises, everybody rises with it. Unfortunately, they say, the tide is rising. You've got a little bit here, and we've got, the problem is the tide has risen, but we're in a kayak, and the rest are in a bloody cruise ship.
We're like Jack over here.
We are.
Let us on, Rose.
This is fun, though.
All right. How would you make politics more engaging for the young and for those who are not that interested?
I think we need civics education in the schools. Like we grew up in the schools not knowing anything about politics, but how powerful it is. And so I think educating our tamariki is the most powerful thing we can put in the hands of decision makers heading into the future. Hence why I wanted to drop to 16. But we need to have compulsory civics education in school so we understand. I'll tell you what, how many seats in Parliament? How many Maori seats in Parliament? 7. So there's 7 Māori seats. There are 120 seats all up. We have 7 Māori seats because half of our people are on the Māori roll and the other half are on the general roll.
I've seen that if all Māori voted Māori Party, though, we would actually have
Well, if
14.
all Māori were on the Māori roll, we would have 14 seats.
14 seats.
Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if the rangatau, if they would be listening to this going, bang, get it, right? And unfortunately, we've got these 2 roles that continue to, and that's based on 16% population. In this last census, they're saying that we could be a 20% population, which means we should nearly have 20 seats. But unfortunately, if half and half are on the different roles, you'll only get 10 seats. That's how powerful our positioning politically is. So rangatahi need to see themselves, and they need to hear themselves.
What do you see in them? Because I can tell that you think the future is there. And there's a lot of people
Hey,
who will
mate,
be
you sound
listening.
like
No. I think there'll be a lot of people listening right now going, he doesn't know. He doesn't know what these kids, we've made it this far. They should be voting at 18 and up, but you see something different in our kids in the future. What are you seeing so people hear, okay, maybe he is on something here?
Well, 70% so if Māori make up 20% of this population, and there's 5 million people here, that's 1 million Māori here in this country right now, right? There's 1 million Māori. Of that 1 million Māori, 70% of those are 40 years and younger.
Wow.
Right? 50% of those are 25% 25 years
Really?
younger. So this is the power in our Māori people is actually sitting in the younger generation. And I have always been a believer that we've got to focus. So if we're Aotearoa Hau driven, I'm stealing this from Hannah Maipi Clark because she's rangatai still. If we're Aotearoa Hau driven and Hawaii ki tawhito is inspired by Hawaii ki tawhito, then that's where we should be looking. So I'm inspired by our tipuna and their mahi, but I am driven for the future. I am driven for an Aotearoa Hau. And so that's where we're at in that particular space.
Beautiful.
I've got one more political question before we can get into the fun stuff.
That's cool.
Oh, this is fun, isn't
This
it?
is fun.
Yeah, no, it's fun. We're all
I'm
learning.
having fun. Straight up.
The funness is still to come, though. Can you explain to us what Te Pāti Māori stands for today, and do it in a way that we'll all understand?
Okay, Te Pāti Māori is, like I said, it's Hawaii inspired, but Aotearoa Hau driven. And so what we want to do is ensure that nobody is left behind. It's the movement that leaves nobody behind. We were supposed to release a tangata haua, or a disabilities policy the other day. Our sign language whānau couldn't, they got ill, so we canned it. We postponed it to a later date because we shouldn't deny our whānau the opportunity to ensure that they are engaged, that they are part of the kaupapa. And so that was a decision we made. And that's what I mean. Nobody gets left behind. And so Te Pāti Māori stands for, like I said, in Aotearoa Hau. What does that look like? How we will treat you on the marae. We will welcome you. Everybody is welcome to this movement. Not just tangata whenua. We want tangata tiriti. We want tangata moana, our Pacific relations, part of this movement, and ensuring that they're all part of the pōhiri when they come onto this marae that Te Pāti Māori is promising everybody. We will welcome you. We will feed you. Taking tea off kai right now will make a huge difference to our whānau, right? Our food sovereignty kaupapa, where we're able to look at breaking the duopoly of the supermarkets that continue to use the price hikes that put the pinch on our whānau buying kai at the till, and ensuring that tangata whenua have a space where we can start going into the supermarket food chains. Because if you look at it, we own 50% of the fishing quota. We know
Why don't we have our own Maori supermarkets?
Maori supermarkets. We own 20% of the dairy. We own 20% of the beef and sheep market. We've got all this agricultural space where we're owning orchards, kiwi fruit orchards, all the other orchards, fruit and veg. We could and just look at all
Even
our
the billion-dollar industry that's Maori business each year
absolutely
that people don't know about.
They're all part of it. Māori are worth $70 billion. That's the Māori economy right now.
Yeah.
And so we are a force to be reckoned with. So breaking the duopoly to ensure people can put the kai on their tables, ensuring that we secure those traditional seed and allowing people to grow kai at home. That's how we will feed you. We will house you. There are 194,000 empty homes here in Aotearoa. There are 100,000 homeless people in this country. Not Māori, homeless people. 60,000 of those are Māori. So ensuring that we put a ghost house tax on those empty houses to release them for the greater good of Aotearoa. It's not a matter of supply. The supply is there. It's about access. So having access to those 194,000 empty houses who are mostly owned by foreign owners and the rich. Tax those houses, release it for the market and start putting those people into homes. This is how we will house you. Right? This is how we will house you, ensuring that Māori get 25% of all the contracts to build homes. So we're the start to end product. We're building homes, we've got the jobs, and we're living in homes that we've been able to build. Releasing Māori land to make people whānau easier for them to go back and build on their whenua. All of those types of things, that's how we will house you. We will care for you. Having a Māori health card, your NHI number is worth $400. You're worth $400, you're worth $400, I'm worth $400. Everybody is worth $400 to the system, whether you use it or not. Right? If we were to put that $400 onto a card, right, a health card, you go shopping in the system for the best healthcare you think you deserve. Not because it's just down the road. You go look for the best. You shop the system and the system stops shopping us, because that's what it does. It shops our misfortunes, it shops our trauma, and it shops our poharatanga. And that's how we will care for you. We will love you as everybody deserves dignity. To retire with dignity. Unfortunately, we die 7 to 10 years earlier than everybody else. And so we want to change a health system that allows us to live with more dignity, to allow us to live longer, and to give our people hope heading into the future. And that's what Te Pāti Māori promises.
I love that. Can I just pull up on one thing? Because there was a jarring statement you said there. The jarringness went off in me when you said we will release land. Can you unpack that a bit? Because I'm sure people, you're going to ruffle feathers,
yes.
You know what I mean? And when you say release land, what is that? What are you entailing by that?
Well, see, Māori land is also multiply owned. And so making it easier for those whānaus to come together, making it easier for them to go through the system, to be able to release the whenua that they have. It's their whenua, and then to build on. The problem is we don't have access to capital. Because it's Māori land, you can't borrow from the banks. The banks won't borrow on Māori land. This is how you're set back.
You're not talking Zimbabwe 2.0 where you go into the farmers and right.
This is Aotearoa, so we don't have access to capital. If you change that land into general title, the banks will allow you to loan on it because you've got to use the land as equity. If you can't pay that thing off, they come take the whenua. But if it's Māori land, they can't take the whenua. But it still means we're homeless on our own whenua. And so that's what I meant by that. The other thing is, all DOC estate, all Crown-owned land should go back to iwi. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Because that's Crown-owned land. It shouldn't be in Crown-owned entity. It should be given back to iwi Māori to be the true kaitiaki of it, because they have done a tragic job of looking after those particular...
I haven't heard the word tragic in years.
Tragic.
Hold that R too.
See, for Māori, we are magic. For the government, they are tragic. You're tragic people to me. You're tragic.
Okay, let's get. You're already relatable enough, but this quick segment to end this matua is called relatable or relatable. Just answer these quick questions. Do you put your bread in the fridge or cupboard?
In the cupboard.
Nice.
It doesn't last that long.
That's not every other
Every
politician.
politician got in the fridge by you.
Because they know we be eating the bread fresh enough. Where do you buy your linen from, and what fabric is it made of?
Oh, look, I'm a Kmart man, and it's made out of half cotton, half. It's just something to sleep in.
Couple of monk blankets here.
Yeah,
Mink blankets here and there. We're good.
What rules do you play by for last card?
Tens miss a turn.
He knows.
Fives pick up five. Yes. 2 pick up 2. Like, why swap
What's
it
the
around?
swap round, Buzz?
No, not into it. Hey,
love
change it to anything you want.
But I love you even
Spade
gave it
to
a go,
spade.
bro. Gave
Spade.
it a go.
If you does
Everyone
he-
else said nah.
if you take kai to someone's house, do you to share? Do you leave the leftovers or take them home?
Oh, you leave the left.
100%.
take
Do you
that.
do the dishes?
Absolutely. I don't have a dishwasher in my house because I believe that's a space our tamariki can kōrero and our whānau can kōrero.
Let's go on Warriors or up the Waz?
I'm a Broncos fan.
Sorry, we lost you, bro.
He won't even bring himself to say it.
You're just doing good this season.
You're not going to say it? Wow.
Wow.
Hearty, eh?
Look, when everybody changed in 95, and you guys might remember this, right? Everybody was changing in 95. It was NRL Winfield Cup before that. It was an awesome
But
club.
Warriors is on the whenua.
And the
Warriors is on
Warriors
is
is
on
on
the
the
whenua.
But I tell you what, that day,
It's not Māori land.
everybody swapped over. We were the whole group of us that did the big opening of the Warriors' first game, Mount Smart Stadium, blowing conches. We had fire torches. We stood on the roof of Mount Smart, blowing these conches, and I thought, right, everybody's wearing these starter jackets, Warrior starter jackets, Warrior starter hats, and I thought, do I? I'm a Broncos fan. They played the Broncos and they lost, and I said, no way.
I'm going to start with the Warriors.
Yes, nice.
Can I drive a manual? Can you drive a manual, sorry?
Absolutely, I grew up on a manual. Give me a manual any day.
Any day. I believe you too. How much should a pie cost an everyday Kiwi?
Well, you could buy a pie and a drink for $2 at the dairy where I was going to when we were at school.
Yeah, but like inflation, all of that. Now, modern day, how much should it cost?
Oh, how much should it cost?
Yeah.
Now.
Oh, you'd be paying $5-6.
I know, but we're asking, what do you think it should be, a pie?
Oh, look, I think we should go back to $1 pies. Yes.
Okay, what mayonnaise brand do you put in your trolley?
Oh, there's only one, Best Foods.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. How much is minimum wage?
Oh, that's a good question. 24. Shit, you got me there, you bugger. Māori Party believe in a living wage.
Yeah, that's it,
you're
that's
right,
it,
you're
that's
right.
it.
Let me put it there.
That's it.
What did your high school lunch typically consist of?
Oh, it was a sausage roll from the tuck shop.
It's about right. It's
Yeah.
still the same, yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be about the same.
Ain't
Yeah.
not much change there. And what should an avocado cost, or how much should you pay for an avocado?
Hey, look, I grew up on avocados, and they go up and down all year, right? And so at the moment, in the Bay of Plenty, in the Wairiki, I went in to buy an avocado at the Rotorua Pack and Save, and it was $1.29.
Oh,
$1.29.
Yeah, but that would have been in
tease
summer.
me like
Like,
that,
And then,
Don't tease
and then
me like
I
that.
went in. No, that's just not so long ago. And then I went into what's that other?
Farrah.
What's the green one? No, what's
Countdown.
Countdown. I went because I don't really like Countdown.
Nah, neither.
So I went into Countdown. It was $5.29 for one.
I think that's why they're changing their name, eh? From Countdown to
Countdown
Woolworths,
prices,
because
yeah.
nothing's being
They need to
down.
change they need to change their damn attitude. That's what they need.
But you bought it? No.
Hey, Rawiri, thank you so
did
much for
buy it.
joining us.
Thank you,
Before we let you get up out of here, is there anything you want to say on the way out?
Oh, no, I just want to say we need more platforms like this where people can speak freely. I'm a supporter of free speech. Not being suspended for it. But, free speech, law and order, all of those things is all, but at the end of the day, our people need to have some dignity to live in this country. And so if we're all driven to be able to do that at Ekaba, that's the main thing. That's the most powerful thing we can give somebody is mana and integrity. And that's what I wake up every day trying to achieve, is give people mana and dignity to live a life that's free. We want less government and we want more freedom. Beautiful. Kia ora tātou.